On your block in Macomb County, where General Motors announced it will lay off 1,000 white-collar employees.
General Motors' reputation is beginning to crumble, and what's hiding underneath could shock the entire car industry. Behind the record numbers and confident facade lies a crisis waiting to unfold. This could change everything you thought you knew about the GME. But what's really happening to this auto giant? What does this mean for the thousands of employees, dealerships, and loyal customers? And most importantly, what does this mean for the vehicles we count on every day? This is bigger than you think. Cracks beneath the surface. It all began with a seemingly positive note. GM CEO Mary Barra took the stage at the 2022 Milken Conference, proudly discussing the company's recent financial success. Interviewer Andy Serwer commended GM's earnings, calling it a nice, solid, strong quarter. But the numbers, when examined closely, told a different story, one that few were willing to talk about publicly. Despite supply chain challenges and rising raw material costs, GM managed to raise prices on its vehicles, stabilizing its revenue. On the surface, this looked like a triumph of smart pricing strategies. Yet, lurking beneath these polished results was a troubling reality. GM's US sales had plummeted by a staggering 20% in the first quarter of the year. The contrast was startling. Declining sales paired with record-high inventory levels. How could this be possible? GM's Executive Vice President Steve Carlisle attempted to reassure stakeholders, emphasizing the efforts of supply chain and manufacturing teams to keep operations close to normal levels. But the numbers didn't add up. A 20% sales decline, coupled with an increase of 74,000 vehicles in inventory, painted a picture of a company struggling to align production with demand. The problem with inventory. At the heart of GM's troubles lies its growing inventory. By the end of the quarter, over 273,000 vehicles were sitting in stock or in transit to dealerships, a significant jump from the previous quarter. This inventory buildup raises serious questions. If demand is so strong, why are so many vehicles sitting unsold? Comparisons with Tesla reveal a stark difference. Tesla operates with a lean inventory model, averaging just 3 days of supply, a level so low it borders on unheard of in the auto industry. In contrast, GM's 45 days of inventory suggests deeper issues. Excess inventory doesn't just tie up capital, it adds millions of dollars in storage and maintenance costs. For a company like GM, with its extensive dealership network, this inefficiency is a glaring red flag. While Tesla's direct-to-consumer approach ensures a streamlined process, GM relies heavily on dealerships to move vehicles. Mary Barra described dealerships as a strategic asset, emphasizing their customer relationships. But is this model truly an asset in today's market? Dealerships may hold the keys to inventory, but GM lacks direct control, making it harder to respond to shifts in consumer demand. Could this be the Achilles heel that disrupts GM's ability to compete? GM's EV challenge. As the automotive world races toward electrification, GM has placed its bets on an ambitious plan to launch 30 EV models by 2025. On paper, this sounds impressive. A lineup featuring the Hummer EV, Cadillac Lyriq, and Chevrolet Silverado EV could position GM as a leader in the electric vehicle space. But bold plans are only as good as their execution. So far, GM's EV sales have been underwhelming. In the first quarter of 2022, the company sold fewer than 400 electric vehicles, a number dwarfed by Tesla's record-setting deliveries. While Tesla focuses on perfecting a few models, GM's strategy of offering a wide variety of vehicles may be spreading its resources too thin. Designing, engineering, and manufacturing 30 different models requires immense coordination, a challenge compounded by lingering supply chain issues and battery production hurdles. Tesla's approach, by contrast, simplifies production and maximizes efficiency. With only a handful of models, Tesla's engineering teams can focus on delivering the best features and software integration. This allows Tesla to stay agile, while GM's complex portfolio risks slowing its progress at a critical time. The rising competition. Competition in the EV market is fiercer than ever. Tesla continues to dominate with a streamlined production process, unparalleled software capabilities, and a direct connection to its customer base. Meanwhile, Ford, Volkswagen, and Rivian are all ramping up their EV strategies, each bringing their own innovations to the table. Where does this leave GM? Mary Barra insists that GM is well positioned to offer what the consumer wants. But with excess inventory, declining sales, and a reliance on dealerships, the gap between GM's aspirations and its reality is widening. Add to this the pressure from external factors like rising gas prices and shifting consumer preferences, and the challenges for GM become even more daunting. At the heart of this struggle is a pivotal question: can GM adapt quickly enough to meet the demands of a rapidly changing industry? The shifting market. The global automotive market is undergoing a dramatic transformation, driven by forces that cannot be ignored. Rising fuel prices, tightening environmental regulations, and shifting consumer preferences are propelling the demand for electric vehicles. The days of internal combustion engine dominance are numbered as the electrification movement accelerates at breakneck speed. For General Motors, this shift represents both an opportunity and a challenge, a fork in the road that will define its future. Consumers are no longer content with gas-guzzling vehicles that weigh heavy on their wallets and the planet. Electric vehicles are no longer niche products reserved for the eco-conscious elite. They are becoming mainstream, sought after by families, professionals, and businesses alike. The financial benefits of lower fuel and maintenance costs are undeniable. However, the biggest draw lies in the promise of a cleaner future, one where transportation plays a pivotal role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. But with opportunity comes competition. Rivals like Tesla, Rivian, and legacy automakers such as Ford and Volkswagen are all racing to capture this burgeoning market. Each is vying for a share of the growing pie, investing billions of dollars into research, development, and production. General Motors, with its rich history and resources, should theoretically be well positioned to lead this revolution. Yet, its actions suggest a company struggling to find its footing in a rapidly evolving landscape. The Tesla benchmark. To understand the challenges facing General Motors, one must look at Tesla, the electric vehicle giant that has set the benchmark for the industry. Tesla's dominance is no accident. Its strategy is as simple as it is effective: fewer models, deeper focus. Unlike General Motors, which is attempting to launch 30 electric vehicle models by the year 2025, Tesla has maintained a small yet highly optimized lineup. This allows its engineering and production teams to concentrate their efforts, resulting in vehicles that consistently outpace the competition in innovation, performance, and value. Tesla's direct-to-consumer model is another game changer. By bypassing traditional dealerships, Tesla has created a seamless purchasing experience that puts it directly in touch with its customers. This not only reduces costs, but also provides invaluable insights into consumer behavior and preferences. In contrast, General Motors remains tied to a dealership network that adds layers of complexity and inefficiency. Mary Barra, the chief executive officer of General Motors, has defended this model as a strategic asset, but the growing inventory levels and lack of direct customer engagement tell a different story. Perhaps the most striking difference between Tesla and General Motors lies in their approach to software. Tesla's vehicles are not just cars, they are high-tech platforms on wheels. Its mobile application, consistently ranked as the best in the industry, offers a level of integration and functionality that legacy automakers are struggling to match. With only 4 models to support, Tesla's software team can focus on delivering exceptional user experiences. Meanwhile, General Motors' plan to develop software for 30 distinct models by the mid-2020s raises serious questions about scalability and quality. The hydrogen gamble. While most automakers are fully committed to electric vehicles powered by lithium-ion batteries, General Motors has taken a controversial detour: hydrogen fuel cells. For heavy-duty applications, the company argues hydrogen is a more viable solution than batteries. On the surface, this might seem like a forward-thinking move. Hydrogen fuel cells produce zero tailpipe emissions, making them an appealing option for meeting stringent environmental standards. However, the reality is far more complex. Hydrogen production is energy-intensive, often relying on methods that emit significant amounts of carbon dioxide. Moreover, the infrastructure for hydrogen fueling stations is virtually non-existent compared to the growing network of electric vehicle charging stations. For General Motors to pursue this path, it would need to invest heavily in building out a fueling network, an endeavor that could take decades and billions of dollars to accomplish. Tesla, by contrast, has doubled down on battery electric solutions, even for heavy-duty vehicles. Its upcoming electric semi-truck is designed to operate efficiently on existing charging networks, a strategy that leverages the momentum of the broader electric vehicle movement. By committing to hydrogen, General Motors risks diverting resources from battery development, potentially ceding further ground to competitors who are focused on scaling electric vehicle production. The cost of falling behind. General Motors' challenges extend beyond the competition. The very nature of the automotive market is changing, and failing to adapt quickly enough could have catastrophic consequences. One significant risk is the potential for an economic downturn. With central banks around the world raising interest rates to combat inflation, the specter of a recession looms large. In such an environment, consumer demand for expensive vehicles, particularly internal combustion engine models, could plummet. The company's reliance on internal combustion engine sales is a ticking time bomb. While the automotive industry has benefited from high prices and strong demand in recent years, these conditions are not guaranteed to last. If demand weakens and the chip shortage eases, General Motors could find itself with an oversupply of internal combustion engine vehicles that no one wants. This would force the company to slash prices, eroding its profit margins and leaving it vulnerable to further financial strain. The shift to electric vehicles is another critical factor. General Motors has set a goal to electrify half of its fleet by the year 2030, but this timeline may already be too slow. Competitors like Tesla are scaling their electric vehicle production at an unprecedented rate, capturing market share that General Motors cannot afford to lose. If General Motors is unable to meet the rising demand for electric vehicles, it risks being left behind in an industry where speed and innovation are paramount. Battery battles. Central to the electric vehicle revolution is the battle for battery supremacy. Batteries are not just a component, they are the heart of an electric vehicle, determining its range, performance, and cost. General Motors has invested heavily in its Ultium battery platform, partnering with LG to develop and manufacture these crucial components. The company plans to open 4 battery plants by the year 2026, with each facility employing between 1,100 and 1,200 workers. Yet these efforts pale in comparison to Tesla's battery strategy. Tesla has taken a more aggressive approach, developing its own battery technology and even exploring the mining of raw materials. This vertical integration gives Tesla greater control over its supply chain, reducing its reliance on third-party suppliers and ensuring a steady flow of critical materials. General Motors, on the other hand, remains heavily dependent on external partners, leaving it vulnerable to disruptions and price fluctuations. Tesla's gigafactories are a testament to its ambition. These massive facilities are designed to produce batteries at scale, driving down costs while increasing output. In contrast, General Motors' battery plants are smaller and less advanced, raising questions about whether they can meet the demands of a rapidly growing market. Without significant improvements in battery production, General Motors may struggle to compete with Tesla and other electric vehicle pioneers. The burden of legacy. One of the biggest challenges facing General Motors is its legacy. As a century-old automaker, the company carries the weight of decades of infrastructure, workforce commitments, and corporate culture. While this legacy has its advantages, such as brand recognition and a loyal customer base, it also comes with significant burdens. General Motors' current strategy involves retrofitting existing vehicle platforms to accommodate batteries, rather than designing electric vehicles from the ground up. This approach may save money in the short term, but it comes at the expense of efficiency and innovation. Electric vehicles built on platforms originally designed for internal combustion engines are heavier, less efficient, and more expensive to produce. This lack of purpose-built electric vehicle platforms puts General Motors at a disadvantage compared to companies like Tesla, which designs its vehicles with electrification in mind. The dealership model is another legacy that hinders General Motors' ability to adapt. While dealerships have historically been a cornerstone of the automotive industry, the direct-to-consumer model pioneered by Tesla is quickly gaining traction. By maintaining a traditional dealership network, General Motors faces higher costs and less control over the customer experience. In a market where agility and responsiveness are critical, this legacy structure could prove to be a significant liability. An uncertain future. As General Motors navigates this critical juncture in its history, the stakes could not be higher. The company has made bold promises, from launching 30 electric vehicle models to achieving carbon neutrality by the year 2040. But promises alone will not secure its place in the future of transportation. To succeed, General Motors must address its inventory challenges, streamline its operations, and accelerate its transition to electric vehicles. It must also reevaluate its reliance on hydrogen fuel cells and invest in the infrastructure needed to support its electrification goals. Most importantly, General Motors must embrace innovation and agility, shedding the legacy practices that have held it back. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but it is also filled with opportunity. For General Motors, the electric vehicle revolution is not just a technological shift, it is a fight for survival. And in this fight, every decision will matter. Batteries and beyond. The heart of the electric vehicle revolution lies not in sleek designs or marketing campaigns, but in the technology powering these machines, the batteries. For General Motors, the Battery Challenge is a critical test of its ability to innovate and scale. The company's Ultium battery platform, developed in partnership with LG, has been hailed as a game changer. General Motors plans to build 4 battery plants by the year 2026, with the first already operational. These facilities are expected to support the production of millions of electric vehicles, marking a significant step forward for the automaker. Yet, for all its ambition, General Motors' battery strategy has significant gaps. While the Ultium platform promises flexibility and cost savings, the company is still playing catch-up with Tesla. Tesla has revolutionized battery production by taking a vertically integrated approach, even venturing into raw material mining to secure its supply chain. In contrast, General Motors remains heavily reliant on external partnerships, leaving it exposed to market fluctuations and supply disruptions. Moreover, Tesla's scale is unmatched. Its gigafactories, including the massive facilities in Nevada and Texas, are capable of producing batteries at a volume and cost efficiency that competitors struggle to match. Tesla's focus on advanced technologies, such as the development of its own 4,680 battery cells, highlights its commitment to staying ahead of the curve. General Motors, by comparison, is still refining its Ultium platform and faces ongoing challenges in securing the raw materials needed for large-scale production. Overpromising and under-delivering. General Motors has made bold claims about its electric vehicle future, but its track record raises questions about whether these promises can be delivered. The company has committed to launching 30 electric vehicle models by the year 2025 and achieving carbon neutrality by the year 2040. On paper, these goals are impressive, signaling a clear commitment to sustainability and innovation. However, the reality on the ground tells a different story. In the first quarter of 2022, General Motors sold fewer than 400 electric vehicles in the United States, a shocking figure for a company that aspires to lead the electrification movement. By comparison, Tesla delivered nearly 310,000 vehicles globally during the same period. The gap between General Motors' ambitions and its actual performance is stark. One of the company's most high-profile launches, the Hummer EV, exemplifies these challenges. Positioned as a super truck with groundbreaking features, the Hummer EV has struggled to gain traction. Production has been limited, with General Motors delivering only 99 units in the first quarter of 2022. The vehicle's massive battery pack, while enabling impressive performance, has also created significant production bottlenecks. This underscores a broader issue. General Motors' ambitious plans often outstrip its ability to execute effectively. The dealership dilemma. General Motors' reliance on its extensive dealership network is both a strength and a weakness. For decades, dealerships have been the backbone of the automotive industry, providing a local touch and personalized service that customers value. Mary Barra, the chief executive officer of General Motors, has described dealerships as a strategic asset, emphasizing their deep relationships with customers. However, in the era of electric vehicles and direct-to-consumer models, this legacy system is showing its cracks. Tesla has demonstrated the power of bypassing traditional dealerships, creating a streamlined purchasing experience that allows the company to maintain control over pricing, inventory, and customer engagement. By contrast, General Motors must navigate the complexities of a decentralized dealership network where individual dealers control inventory and pricing. This structure makes it difficult for General Motors to respond quickly to shifts in consumer demand or streamline the customer experience. The dealership model also exacerbates General Motors' inventory challenges. As of the first quarter of 2022, the company had over 273,000 vehicles sitting in stock or in transit to dealerships, a stark contrast to Tesla's lean inventory approach. These unsold vehicles not only tie up capital, but also signal potential mismatches between production and demand. For General Motors to compete effectively in the electric vehicle era, it must find ways to modernize its dealership strategy while maintaining the benefits of its legacy network. The innovation gap. Innovation has always been a cornerstone of success in the automotive industry. From the introduction of assembly lines to the development of autonomous driving technologies, companies that lead in innovation often dominate the market. For General Motors, the innovation gap is a growing concern. While the company has made strides in areas like battery development and electric vehicle design, it still lags behind competitors like Tesla in key areas. Tesla's software capabilities are a prime example of this gap. The company's vehicles are not just modes of transportation, they are platforms for advanced software integration. Tesla's mobile application, consistently ranked as the best in the industry, allows drivers to monitor and control nearly every aspect of their vehicles. From managing charging schedules to enabling remote updates, Tesla's software ecosystem is a benchmark for the industry. General Motors, by contrast, faces significant challenges in building a comparable software ecosystem. With plans to launch 30 electric vehicle models by the year 2025, the company's software team must develop and maintain a staggering number of applications and features. This complexity not only increases development costs, but also raises the risk of inconsistent user experiences. In an industry where seamless integration is increasingly important, General Motors must close this gap to remain competitive. And another area where General Motors lags is in its approach to vehicle design. Tesla's electric vehicles are built from the ground up, leveraging dedicated platforms that maximize efficiency and performance. General Motors, on the other hand, has often retrofitted existing internal combustion engine platforms to accommodate electric powertrains. While this approach may save money in the short term, it limits the potential of the vehicles and puts General Motors at a disadvantage in the long run. A crossroads for General Motors. As General Motors navigates the challenges of electrification, it finds itself at a critical crossroads. The decisions it makes in the coming years will determine whether it can maintain its position as an automotive giant or cede ground to faster, more agile competitors. To succeed, General Motors must address the strategic missteps that have hampered its progress. First and foremost, the company must accelerate its battery production capabilities. The Ultium platform has potential, but General Motors must ensure it can scale effectively and compete with Tesla's vertically integrated supply chain. This will require significant investments in raw material sourcing, production facilities, and technological innovation. Second, General Motors must rethink its approach to vehicle design. Building electric vehicles on dedicated platforms is no longer optional, it is a necessity. By prioritizing efficiency and performance, General Motors can create electric vehicles that not only meet but exceed consumer expectations. Finally, the company must embrace digital transformation. From modernizing its dealership model to developing cutting-edge software, General Motors must become a technology leader to remain relevant in a rapidly changing industry. This will require a cultural shift within the organization, as well as a willingness to invest in the talent and infrastructure needed to drive innovation. GM's EV gamble. General Motors has reached a pivotal moment. Its ambitions are as bold as they are daunting: to electrify 50% of its fleet by the year 2030 and achieve full electrification of light-duty vehicles in the United States by the year 2035. These commitments, while commendable, are only as good as the company's ability to deliver. The question is no longer whether the automotive industry will embrace electrification. It's whether General Motors can keep pace with competitors that are moving faster and more efficiently. The electric vehicle market is unforgiving. The competition is fierce, and consumers are increasingly demanding. Rivals like Tesla have set the standard with streamlined operations, cutting-edge technology, and vehicles that are not just cars, but complete ecosystems. General Motors must prove it can go beyond the promises of press releases and deliver products that resonate with modern drivers. To do this, the company must address its most pressing challenges. Scaling battery production, reducing dependency on third-party suppliers, and improving inventory management are essential steps. At the same time, General Motors must leverage its rich history and iconic brands to differentiate itself in a crowded market. The Chevrolet Silverado EV, the Cadillac Lyriq, and other flagship models hold immense potential if executed correctly. But as of now, potential alone will not guarantee success. The high stakes of innovation. The automotive industry is undergoing its most significant transformation in over a century. For General Motors, this shift is not just about electrification, it's about reimagining what it means to be a modern automaker. Software, automation, and sustainability are no longer optional. They are the pillars upon which future success will be built. General Motors' ability to innovate in these areas will determine its fate. Tesla's dominance in software integration highlights the growing importance of technology in the automotive space. For General Motors to close the innovation gap, it must prioritize the development of cohesive digital ecosystems that enhance the driving experience. This means going beyond retrofitted platforms and investing in ground-up designs that are tailored for electrification and connectivity. The stakes are immense. General Motors is not just competing for market share, it is fighting for relevance in an industry that is rapidly evolving. The next decade will be defined by those who can adapt, innovate, and lead. For General Motors, this is the challenge of a lifetime, and the clock is ticking. What do you think? Can General Motors rise to the challenge and thrive in this electrified future? Or will its bold ambitions fall short? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth looks at the biggest stories shaping the automotive world. Thanks for watching.